Hello everyone. Today I'm here with Muzahidul, Muzzy Islam, a Hearthstone player from the United States, currently playing for Luminosity Gaming. You probably will know him from the Pinnacle 4, he was a champion there. So hello Muzzy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. Just got back from eating, so ready to talk.
Great. So we had a very small introduction about you, but could you tell me a bit more about yourself?
Well, I'm currently a full-time college student. Hearthstone's kind of this thing I do on the side, though. I do have quite a bit. My day is usually really busy. I get up in the morning, I go to class, come back, and then I usually stream Hearthstone and then homework and then a bunch of stuff and then go back to sleep. So not a lot of free time in my schedule since I'm kind of juggling both this Hearthstone career and trying to get an education for my college. So yeah, that's basically what my normal day consists of right now. So
You pretty
trying to
much
get through.
try to fit them all in, right?
Yeah.
I also
Trying
see
to fit
a
everything in.
periodic table behind you. I
Oh
remember that
yeah,
from school.
that's actually my roommate's periodic table.
Oh,
It's a poster. It's like a periodic table of gaming web. It's not really like more
okay,
actual science one. I need to know the periodic table though because I'm studying chemistry.
of course. Okay, so does your battle tag have any special meaning or significance? How did you come up with it?
Well, the thing is, my first name is Muzahidul, so it can be a bit difficult to pronounce for some people. So, in about like I think around fifth grade, my one friend just decided to call me Muzzy one day, and then it just kind of stuck, and I've been going with it, and I don't
Awesome.
mind it. And it flows off the tongue, so it's easy for people to say as well. So yeah, it's just not no special significance, just like kind of a nickname I was given when I was younger.
I see. It's easy, small. It's catchy.
hmm
Okay, so you are nowadays a part of Luminosity Gaming, one of the biggest organizations in the world. You were previously in Hearthlytics. So how did that opportunity arise and join Luminosity?
Well, so the current manager of the Hearthstone division for Luminosity is the Shiv, and when I was a while ago, I was approached by him. This was before I like started streaming a whole bunch and developing a follower base, and I kind of talked to him then, and he kind of alluded to Luminosity getting more into the Hearthstone scene back then, and then I kind of didn't go into that too much because I was a part of Hearthlytics at the time, and I had a bunch of stuff that I had to do, so didn't really delve into team situations too much after that. But then after Hearthlytics disbanded and a bunch of opportunities started arising for me, and I contacted the Shiv again, and he contacted me as well, and he said that they were looking to pick up more potential Hearthstone players, and Frozen was one of them. Frozen actually recommended me to the Shiv and the owner of Luminosity, and then we kind of had a talk, kind of had a Skype call to see where I'm currently stand and what I want to do with my Hearthstone career and what they want to do with their Hearthstone division, and both of our goals coincided, and yeah, we
I see.
kind of came to an agreement, and they decided to pick me up. Thought I was worth it.
So how did you pick up Hearthstone and what do you like most about the game?
Okay, so I've been playing Hearthstone for as long as it's been out. Right now, I got in towards the end of the beta like 3 years ago, and I actually got uh, 3 years ago. I actually was watching a someone do a YouTube video. Like I didn't play any games competitively before. There's no card games, no like Magic the Gathering or anything like that. No like Pokemon TCG, nothing like that. I just played like just casual games on Steam. And I was watching this one YouTuber who did like a playthrough of a game that I played back then. He did a video on Hearthstone, and it looked really fun to me. This new card game. It was easy to get a hold of and looked really fun. So I decided to get my hands on a beta key, and I was fortunate enough to find one. And then I just kind of started playing the game back then, and haven't put it down ever since then. And I guess one of the reasons that Hearthstone kind of appeals to me is it's how like easy it is to play and how easy it is like in the higher levels. It's there's a bunch more aspects that go into each game, but like you can kind of just pick it up and start playing it and just like winning. I don't know. I really
Easy to
when I
play,
win a when I win a
difficult to
game in
master.
Hearthstone, it's really appealing to me, and I just want to keep winning and winning and winning. That's why I just constantly play over and over, and turns out I'm decent at it, so I tend to win a lot.
I see. And how do you approach each season? And what strategies do you use to climb to your way to the top of the ladder, get legend, etc.?
Okay, so usually when it's a season like this year, there was a bunch of season for points, and how I approached each season was I would usually play, like getting to legend doesn't really matter as much. It's where you finish at the end of the season, and to approach the ladder in that way, I would just get legend with, whatever deck I had fun playing back then, just play it and get to legend whenever I can, because it doesn't really matter if you get to legend back then like first. You won't stay at first the entire season. That's not how the ladder
Of
has
course.
ever been. So the how I approached the finishing at the top of the ranks was I would get to legend, and then when I would get to like a certain rank, like, rank one, rank two, rank three, at a certain point in the season, kind of midway, then there's no, since I want to finish at those high ranks, there's no more incentive for me to currently play at that time until someone passes me, right?
Of
Until
course.
someone passes me, knocks me down on the ladder, and then when that happens and they knock me down on the ladder, then I can come back, play again, and then climb back up, and then constantly build MMR up and up like this, so it's harder for other people to come up and pass me. And that's kind of how I did most of the seasons where I finished top 10. I would play a lot before the last day and build the MMR up in top 10 like that, and always stay at the top, so it was harder on the final day for people to come up and pass me. Some seasons weren't like that. Some seasons were a bit more volatile, but I think like around maybe 40-50% of the seasons where I finished top 10, I was able to do that and not have to play on the last day. So that's kind of how I approach the season climbing. And usually the decks I would play would be the best decks at the time, combo druid, shaman, different decks like that of that variant. Usually to finish high, you want to be playing the best deck that you can, and play a lot of games of it to give yourself a
Of
high
course.
enough win rate to be able to climb.
And in the meanwhile, when you stopped playing, in order to maintain your MMR, did you play arena? What did you do? How did you spend your time?
Uh, well, see, I am a college student, so I'm usually busy. I have a bunch of schoolwork to do, and other times when I did have free time and I didn't really want to play the ladder during then, like I did occasionally play arena, though I don't play it as much anymore. But the other thing I would do was there was a lot of tournaments available, open tournaments that Blizzard
Uh-huh.
offered that you could collect points off as well. So those tournaments usually took a lot of hours. Like, since I was high ranked at the time, I didn't need to spend those hours playing ladder. I could dedicate my time to those tournaments and collect points to get even more points for the HGC season. So yeah, I spent a lot of time playing tournaments as well.
That's awesome. Also, what style of decks do you prefer playing? Are you a control player, mid range?
For me, it's usually all the good decks. Like, I don't try to waste my time playing a bunch of bad decks that have lower than 50% win rate, because I don't like losing. When I play a deck that's bad and I keep losing, that doesn't feel good to me at all. So it doesn't matter if it's like a control deck, a mid-range deck, an aggro deck, or a combo deck to me. I've played all four types of those decks and gotten to high ranks with all four types of them. So to me, I like to play decks that are good, decks that make me win. It doesn't matter to me what archetype it is, or what the play style of the deck is. If the deck is good, I will play it and I will try my best to win with it.
I see.
That's how I approach it.
So, about the current meta, did you agree with the latest nerfs, and what would you have done differently to change the cards, to address the issue?
Okay, so I think Blizzard took a very good approach at the current cards. They decided to change Tuskar Totemic being one of them, Rockbiter being another one of them. Like, these were decks that made Shaman very, very prevalent in in the current meta, and Tuskar Totemic was one of those cards where if it came down turn 3 and like it popped out a Totem Golem or a Mana Type, like the game could be over just then. So I think they did a good job of choosing which cards to nerf and like execute also switching it to 2 mana. It was pretty strong at 1 mana. So I agree with all the nerfs they did, but something they could have done a bit differently is, since Tuskar Totemic, it went from a 3/2 to, which was a really good card because it could summon one of those broken totems, but now it's just a basic totem and it probably won't see play in competitive decks anymore. So one thing they could have changed differently about it was make its stats, let's say, a 3 mana 3/3. Then it has ability to survive more, and it might see more play than it will as a 3/2. It's just a basic totem. So yeah, on that aspect, I did agree with how Blizzard, on what cards Blizzard chose to nerf, and they did a good job of currently saying it out. Yep.
So generally, let's say that you are in charge of Hearthstone. What would you change?
Okay, so one thing I really don't like about Hearthstone and a certain class is the warrior class, like their ability to gain so much armor with the card and Justicar True Heart. Like the fact that they can Justicar True Heart can come down since they have a lot of early game removal spells. When they get around turn 6, they're usually around 30 life, so they're not pressured. Like they're able to put out Justicar True Heart and then start taking up from that point. And the fact that they can go to life totals of like 50, 60, even in games like not versus the mirror, that's like kind of, to me, that's not fun to play against at all. It's just so strong and like so imbalanced in my opinion that I don't like the 4 armor gain of, especially in the warrior class. Like in other classes it's fine. I know in Hunter the hero power deals 3. Like it kind of makes sense that they did gain 4 armor but deal 3 damage, because damage in Hearthstone is more valuable than life gain, right? Because damage can pile on more and more, whereas life gain it's a bit less relevant. But the fact that warrior can get to insane life totals, that's something that I don't find that fun to play against, no matter like what class you're playing right now. Like as druid, if they get to a certain life total, you can't do anything. As shaman, you can't do anything. Like if Justicar comes down and they're not pressured at some point, they can just click tank up and not have to do much else and just win the game from there. So that's one thing I would change. I don't know how like specifically I would approach it. Maybe do like an armor cap so that the max armor or the max life total they can get to is like maybe 45. Maybe that would help it a bit, but I would have to think about it more to change it. But that's something that I would definitely change, and a lot of other people have agreed with me on this. So that's something I would take a look at.
The armor cap would be really interesting indeed. It would change the perspective of warrior a lot. So about tournaments, your biggest achievement to date is winning the Pinnacle 4 back in 2015. You had some good results in various tournaments, but never actually won a title. What do you think has held you back from winning more titles?
Okay, so one of the things that in Hearthstone, like I'm not as big as some of the pros you see that they get invites to all these tournaments. Like every other week there's a big tournament, they'll get invites. So I haven't had as many opportunities available to me to take a part of some of these titles as, let's say, some other pros. But there have been small opportunities given to me, and I haven't really been able to capitalize that on as much. It might be part to my opponents. It's just like the person whoever won the tournament at that time, it was like their time to win that tournament, and not really mine. Like I have the tournaments I've been invited to since then, I have been preparing for them and been trying my best in them, but it just hasn't been my time. So currently I'm hopefully the last call tournament that's coming up in about a week or two, where if I win that, then I qualify for BlizzCon. That'll be one of the biggest achievements so far for me. So hopefully I can be fortunate in that and capitalize on my deck choices and play and take first in that.
We really hope you do so. And speaking of that, do you prefer this BlizzCon's format or the last year's BlizzCon format?
So I know there's a lot of discussion on the way Hearthstone format's done for BlizzCon last year. They had like a final tournament where some people could qualify. This year, I think they did take a correct approach in uh, in organizing their tournaments, but something they like, especially for North America and like Europe, something they did differently was the preliminary tournaments, like with 128 people signing up and doing top eight from that, like top eight of that tournament qualifies for the 8-man where they played at BlizzCon. Like the people who grinded out, first in points, like me and a bunch of other people, like they weren't given any advantages to this. Like in Asia, as we know, people have mentioned, like there's been recent Twitter drama between Ferdy and RDU about this. Like Handsome Guy in the Asia region, or the APAC region, whoever's first in points there gets a direct invite to the top 8 tournament, and they can play out there. Like why is the APAC region's tourney format different from NA and EU and like China? Why can't all these formats be standardized and have like the first points earners be invited to that? A lot of people agree with me, and Blizzard hasn't really stated anything on why this is. It doesn't make sense. So hopefully, like this year, they did take a step in the right direction from last year, but hopefully next year they take all this player feedback and change it to make it even better.
I think a lot of people would agree with you, including me. So I believe that it should be more fair and more balanced for everyone to have equal chances of qualifying for BlizzCon. So speaking of tournaments, what are your goals for Hearthstone this year and maybe the first months of the upcoming year?
All right, so the main goal on my site right now is to get first place in this last call tournament so that I can qualify for BlizzCon. Right now, the goal is to get first place here so that I can qualify for BlizzCon, and then hopefully after that happens, then my sights will be on, maybe a first place finish in BlizzCon, or maybe top 4 if I'm a bit less, if I'm a bit more humble, as to say. But yeah, my goal right now is to just get to that point where I can qualify for BlizzCon and then take it from there and see where I can take my Hearthstone career.
That's awesome. Do you have any advice or thoughts you'd like to share with your fans or other aspiring competitive players that want to be like you?
Well, the main thing is the amount of time I have dedicated to the game. If you want to get into the scene, like before I got into the scene, before I went tournaments and like became a part of Luminosity, people probably didn't know who I was. To build my brand and to make people, like, when they say the name Muzzy, they think he's that player on North America who's a part of Luminosity Gaming. You have to dedicate a lot of time to the game and keep on going till you have those results, like, till you can grind those points so that people can recognize you. That's what I had to do. I've spent countless hours building up the amount of points I earned this year for ACC so that I'm part of this last call, and I have that opportunity to be able to qualify for BlizzCon.
Great. So hard work pays off. It's all about the passion, after all. Okay, so let's say you're a castaway in a remote, isolated island. You have to choose one Hearthstone personality to help you survive. Who would it be?
That's a tough question. I guess it would be. Chalky. He's one of my teammates, and he's someone I would have a fun time, let's say, on a remote island. I mean, I don't know how long we'll survive, but if I was on a remote island, it would be someone I can get along with, someone, I can hang out with and talk with a whole bunch. And Chalky is one of them. He is a good friend and talked a lot in the past. So being on an island with him would be a bit more fun than, someone I don't know and
of course
can't relate to as much.
Great. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. Do you have any final shout-outs?
Well, thank you to you for having me and doing this interview. I'm glad to come on and talk about what I feel about Hearthstone and what my current position in Hearthstone is. And yeah, just shout out to Luminosity, my team, and yeah, thank you for having me again.
The honor is all mine. Thank you for having this interview with me. So you can all follow Muzzy on Twitter at LG_Muzzy. I have it written right here. Please make sure to drop him a follow. And once again, thank you very, very much, and I hope to see you winning that last call qualifier. So, thank you everyone. Bye.
See you guys.